What would be a good reason for you to take a security deposit or a collateral from an individual who borrows money from you? Rabbeinu Bachya in Shaar HaBitachon today, in the fourth argument that we make with the solicitor of security deposits, says there's only one of three reasons that you would actually demand a security deposit or some sort of collateral from an individual that would borrow money from you. Reason number one is maybe the person might lose his livelihood and will not be able to afford to pay you back when the time to repay comes. That's the first reason. Second reason is perhaps the person might say, shrug their shoulders and say, I just don't want to pay you. They might become arrogant and just say, I'm not interested in paying you back. And so another good reason as to why you would demand a collateral. Third reason is perhaps this borrower would die or move away to a distant country, you wouldn't be able to find the person. And so now you're left with three reasons as to why you would demand or require a security deposit from one person to another. Now, Rabbeinu Bachya says something super interesting. And it's not as interesting as you might think when you think about the details. Hashem has none of these problems. Hashem is never going broke. Hashem is never going to deny you something that you deserve. And Hashem is always here for you. And so it is wrong for you as an individual to be a solicitor of security deposits when it comes to doing avodas Hashem. Because Hashem is always going to be there and do the right thing by you. I'm Ravav, and this is Shaar HaBitachon. All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today, Shia Shabi Le'ilu Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi, Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dova Cohen, and B'schus the Refu Shalema Bakarov, Meshalem ben Sarachel, and Miriam Bas Sarah. Today, we are on page 382 in the Or Avigdor, for those who are following along. And today, we are talking about the fourth of the 7 arguments that we make with the solicitor of security deposits. And you guys have been following along. And just to reiterate, who is the solicitor of security deposits? The solicitor of the security deposits is a person who, when you ask him, hey, when are you going to start dedicating some time towards avodas Hashem? And what his response is, he says, not that he doesn't want to, he just says, I can't. I need to make a living. I'm struggling. I need to work. I need to first put away money. And Chovos HaLevavos says that his response is, I want to put away enough money until I'm comfortable. What is comfortable? It's open for speculation, but in Chovos HaLevavos in Shaar HaBitachon, he says, until I have enough money to support myself, my wife, my children, and my grandchildren, that's when I'm going to have enough brain capacity set aside, menuchas hanefesh, to spend time to do avodas Hashem. And we are discussing that there are 7 arguments that we have with this individual to explain to him how his mentality is backwards and how he is completely and utterly wrong with his thought process in making that statement, in requiring or demanding, I should say, from Hashem that security deposit, meaning give me first money and make me comfortable, and only then am I going to give you, Hashem, the time of day in order to do the avodas Hashem. The fourth argument that we make today is, quick pause here for just a moment. If this share is meaningful to you and you want to help support the channel, I've created a Patreon link and I've posted that link below in the description. All right, now let's get back to our share. The structure of a traditional human-to-human borrower-lender relationship is that it stands on 3 main pieces. When someone borrows money from someone and the lender requires a collateral, there is a reason why he's asking for that collateral. And Chovos HaLevavos over here is going to explain that reason. The fourth argument against the person who asks Hashem for security is ki hamamashkin es chaverei, is that when someone takes a pledge from his fellow to guarantee the fulfillment of an obligation, so he takes that collateral, that security deposit, Rabbeinu Bachya says he takes that collateral because of at least one or all of 3 reasons. First reason is maybe that the borrower is going to fall into difficult times. He's going to lose all his money. He won't be able to afford to pay back his debt. Therefore, the lender has a right to say, hey, let me get a collateral. let me take some security. And therefore, if you do happen to lose your livelihood and you can't afford to pay back the money that you owe me, I will now have that item, that collateral to use for myself or sell it off and recoup some of my money or all my money. That's one reason. The second reason is, maybe the borrower will just become arrogant and say, you know what, I don't want to pay back. Shrug his shoulders, you know, I don't care. I know I borrowed money from you, but I'm not interested in paying you back. And so it makes sense for you to take collateral just in the event that this borrower would say, I just don't want to pay you back. I have enough money. I'm a millionaire. Whatever it is, I just don't want to pay you. That's the second reason. And the third reason is, maybe what's going to happen is, along the line, a long time, that the borrower might die, and the lender won't be able to collect, or the borrower might move away to another city or another country or somewhere, and he wouldn't be able to find him. Remember, when this was written thousands of years ago, a little over 1,000 years ago, you couldn't just find someone easily. You couldn't just look up a phone book. You couldn't just go somewhere, even travel somewhere. Even traveling to the next city took a couple of days. So the person might have moved away to another country, and he'll never see him again. And even today's days, you might just not find the guy. Person just might go missing. And regardless, you wind up with three reasons. Maybe the person won't be able to pay the borrower. Maybe the borrower won't want to pay. And the third reason is maybe the borrower might die, or you might not just be able to find him, and so you won't be able to collect your debt. And so for those three reasons, you are correct, and you are right to demand a security deposit from the borrower. Now, taking a security is a remedy for these three defects. He says over here, Rabbeinu Bachya, in these three defects when it comes to human relationships. If lenders could be guaranteed that any of these three reasons wouldn't be an issue, they wouldn't have the audacity, the right, or the chutzpah to demand a security deposit. If all these three reasons could be guaranteed that you wouldn't be able to have that run into that problem, you wouldn't ask for a security deposit. Ask for Hashem, none of these three reasons, not one, not all, none of them apply. It would certainly be disgraceful and outrageous to demand a pledge from Hashem. As it says in the pasuk, everything in this world, all the silver, all the gold, all the monetary value in this world belongs to Hashem and Him only. So Hashem is never going to be poor, ever. You don't have to worry about that. Hashem is never going to shrug his shoulders and say, I don't want to pay you, because we know that Hashem always pays his debts. If he owes it to you, he will give it to you. And Hashem is not dying, and Hashem is not moving away to another country. Hashem is always there. Hashem is here. Hashem is everywhere, as we learned when we were children. He's always going to be around. You could always find him. He's not a borrower that's going to go AWOL. So when it comes to Hashem, the three reasons that you use in order to take a collateral, that you have a right to ask for collateral from one person to another on this world, is because you might run into one of these issues. But none of these issues apply when it comes to Hashem. And therefore it is wrong for you. It is disgraceful. It is a flawed way of thinking that you tell Hashem, Hashem, I got to put you on hold. I got to put you on pause. I first have to go to work and make money, and only then am I going to start doing avodas Hashem. Am I going to be a great servant of yours, Hashem? That is the fourth of the 7 arguments that we make with this individual who we call the solicitor of security deposits. Thank you, everyone, for joining us all here today. And as always, I love you all.